Hi, this is Izabel Florence, and you are listening to You Are Light podcast, a safe space where we talk about mental health and well-being. Hello and welcome to another solo episode. Today we will continue talking about detachment. Last week we spoke of detachment within relationships, which was fascinating because I feel like I had a lot of insights during the recording, and I hope you had some as well. Let's see if we get some today again. I started researching detachment and writing about it and thinking about it, thinking that I was going to do one episode on it. How naive. There is so much information behind it. So today we're going to talk about detachment when it comes to our thoughts. The biggest positive influence you can get from meditating is some of detachment from your thoughts. By sitting down and being in silence for however long you do, and by bringing your focus back again and again and again from your thoughts to your breath or to your body or to something like a candlelight, you become aware of how quickly thoughts can come and how quickly they go. It can also allow you to see them from a distance. Being attached to our thoughts can be very detrimental and cause a lot of anxiety. Our brain is a word machine, and with the way the society is built right now, where the timeline of our day-to-day life is very rushed, we don't get rest periods and we don't get silence. We are constantly being bombarded with information, which only makes us think more and not be able to slow not only our minds, but our hearts and our breathing. There's this method, it's called cognitive diffusion, and it's about looking at your thoughts instead of looking through them. We have to understand that our thoughts are not necessarily linked to reality. The thoughts that show up in our minds are, firstly, not fully under our control, and secondly, can be just a product of our environment, of relationships we've had, of what society has told us. If we grow up being told you are useless, you will continue having that thought as you grow up, even after you move out of that situation, away from those relationships, away from the people that were telling you this. If society tells you all the time, if you do not make this amount of money, you are not valuable, even if you are a nurse and you are saving people's lives and helping people with their health, you can still have that belief in your mind, that thought in your mind that you are not valuable because society has told you the more money you make, the more valuable you are. So it's important to first understand that the thoughts that are in our minds are not necessarily ours. They could have been created by other people, put there by society, placed there by our environment. And so looking at cognitive diffusion, we understand that there is distance between who you are deep down and what you think. So how do we detach from our thoughts? One exercise that I really, really enjoy, and I use it for myself, is to name the negative voice in your head. It creates distance and separation between you and your thoughts. So for example, there's this thought that tells you all the time, you are lazy, you do not work hard enough. And you can name this voice. You can name Billy the bully. So Billy the bully is a negative character. When you receive a thought from Billy, you can separate you from that thought by just saying, thank you, Billy, for that thought, but it's not helpful for me right now. So I'm going to go back to the present moment and I'm going to release that thought. It's really important to understand that we are separate from what we think and that we don't have to believe the things that we think. Just because it's in our heads doesn't mean it's who we are. If we are aware of the separation between us and our thoughts, we can also be aware of the separation that is possible between ourselves and our emotions. If you have a negative thought and you are not separate from it, you don't see the detachment that you have from it, you will react without awareness, and that influences the people around you in a negative way. This detachment that we have between ourselves and the words in our heads not only is beneficial for ourselves, but those around us, because it allows us to have some control and understanding over our emotions. Sometimes you have to go backwards. Sometimes you feel an emotion, you don't know where it's coming from. So you go back to the thought. What is it that I thought about that made me feel like this? Oh, the thought was, I am useless. And then you go back and think, is this my thought? Is this a thought that has been put into my mind by someone else or by society? Ultimately, it's not your thought. Nobody's useless in this world. We are all beautiful, unique beings with power, but we have been told so many lies that we have believed them. And now we're the ones who are repeating it to ourselves in our heads. We have become our worst enemy. Another exercise to bring detachment to the words in our heads, to the thoughts in our minds, is to write down your thoughts with no filter. So this is called free writing or stream of consciousness. And it's when you get a piece of paper, a pen, and you write every word that comes to your mind. So in the beginning, it might be, why am I doing this? Is the silly exercise? I'm hungry. Superficial level thoughts. But at some point, you're going to get to deeper thoughts. And by putting them in a piece of paper, you can again detach yourself from it. Detach yourself from those realities. Don't believe everything you think. Another thing we do so much that is so natural and biologically makes every sense is that we worry about our past and our future a lot. We have negative thoughts about what have we done wrong and about everything that could go wrong. It makes sense, right? It's a survival mechanism, so we can prepare ourselves for the tiger that could come and attack our tribe. But we're not in a tribe anymore. You worrying about saying something wrong tomorrow at work, it's kind of useless. What is it going to bring you? Only anxiety, only stress. The more we can live in the present moment, the less we can worry and think about our past and our future, the more we can focus on the now, on gratitude for everything we have right now, and even on working hard to get a great future. This doesn't mean that we're not going to have goals. It just means that we're going to be detached from outcomes. The problem with attaching to our thoughts is that they overpower us. They do not let us live in the light that we are, the present light of beauty that we are. This doesn't mean that all the thoughts are false, that we can't believe all the thoughts that we have. So many beautiful thoughts that we have. Our mind is an incredible tool. Our imagination is mind-boggling. It's absolutely fascinating. It's incredible that we can create very, very precise arguments and fully have them with people that we know, just in our minds. But we also have to remember that our bodies react to that the same way that it would react if it was happening right there and then. We feel the stress of a situation even when we're imagining that situation. We read a book and we cry. It's so easy to connect to stories, to create stories. And that is a beautiful thing that the human being is able to do. So what we need to understand is how to use this beautiful creativity and imagination that we have, this beautiful mind that is so intricate, and let go of the things that we don't need. Let go of the words that we don't need, the thoughts that are negative, the self-deprecating, So next time you have a negative thought, name that character, create some distance from it. And also don't take it so seriously. Sometimes we have to remember how small we are within the power of this earth, within the power of this universe, and how small some of our worries might be. Oh, I said something to that person and maybe they misunderstood it, and now what are they going to think of me? Doesn't really matter that much, does it? Wow, I'm unlovable because I don't look exactly like the beauty standards that are so far away from reality, so far away from humanity. Let's really look at the things we're thinking about. Let's really pull it apart and get rid of the bullshit. Because we all think a lot of bullshit. I know I do. And also, let's not judge ourselves for thinking the bullshit, because it's part of being human. As I said, biologically, we want to look at the negatives to protect ourselves. But when you're safe in your home with a loved one, don't go into protection mode. Stay in the present moment. Live fully with that person. Live fully with yourself. As soon as we start detaching from our minds, from our thoughts, we can find freedom. You can choose who you want to be. We become what we think of ourselves. The extension of our detachment from our thoughts is the detachment from our emotions. And this is really beautiful as well. To be able to step outside of a very emotional moment can be very healing. When we detach from our emotions and from our loved ones' emotions, we are able to give them what they need. An outside perspective for good advice, as well as our own happiness. If you live with someone and they're in pain, it will help no one for you to feel that pain as your own. What you need to do is stay present in your own happiness so you can give them some of it. They do not need more pain. They need ease. They need power. They need support. They need your love. So detachment does not mean indifference. It means I take care of you without experiencing everything you experience. You have to stay in the light to help others come out of the darkness. And again, meditation and spiritualities allows us to do so. It allows us to understand that our thoughts and feelings are not dependent on other people or situations. By staying detached from our emotions, we create the power to stay stable within crises. You can still feel your emotions. You need to feel them. If you don't feel them, you're just going to suppress them. And that's going to become a monster in the dark that one day will find its way out. Much bigger and much more powerful. So it's important to feel it, but at the same time, bring some detachment from it. Look at it from an outside perspective. What am I feeling? What thought is this emotion connected to? Is this thought linked to reality or not? Is it linked to reality? Feel that emotion. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself heal. It is not linked to reality. Maybe it's time to let that emotion go. This is how you stay strong. This is how you stay emotionally stable, by bringing awareness to your emotions and detachment from your thoughts and emotions. And you can use the same exercise. Write it down. Stream of consciousness. Where is this emotion coming from? Let me analyze it. Get curious. It's fascinating. The human psyche is so complex and intricate. It's like a beautiful web of intrinsic flowers that are always connected. Another exercise to bring some detachment from your emotion is understanding that this actually means you are connected to the whole world. This emotion that you are feeling, even if it's negative, it means you are human. It means you are part of a beautiful community. So by detaching from it, we can bring gratitude to it as well. To the fact that you are alive. You feel anger, you feel alive. You feel love, you feel alive. You feel sadness, you feel alive. Our emotions are such a beautiful book into our psyche. It's how we can connect to what's really going on and to where everything is coming from. If you trace back the path, emotion, thought, is it connected to reality? You can understand so much more about yourself. And by doing these exercises, you become self-sufficient in a way where you can heal yourself. You don't need anyone else to support you through sadness. You can give yourself the care you need. Detachment is such a fascinating subject. And by detaching from our thoughts and our emotions, we can allow them in, we can fully feel them, but most importantly, we can let them go. This has made a big difference in my life. It has helped me so much with becoming a more joyous person, a happier person, and it has allowed me to fully feel what I feel, because after I let it go. There's detachment. I'm not hanging on to these emotions, to these thoughts. I'm an ever-changing being. It's all fluctuating. It's flowing. I find it really beautiful. And I hope it helps you as well. Let me know what you think. Send me a DM on Instagram. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening. All the links are written down on the show notes, as well as resources for anyone struggling with their mental health. Don't forget to subscribe so you're notified when we release new episodes. Also, feel free to share our podcast with your friends and family. And if you'd like to get involved, explore our content, or support our work, you can become our Patreon by visiting our website www.yourlight.earth. That's yourlight.earth. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at u.r.light. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.